Hey everyone, this is Steven Robles, the Bearded Teacher, and today I'm going to show you several ways where you can use Siri shortcuts on your iPhone or your iPad to promote your podcast. I have a shortcut that'll add your podcast branding or artwork on an image so you can post that to social media. Another shortcut where you can pull the links for the latest episodes of your podcast from different services, and I'll put that on social media, and some things you can do with your RSS feed as well. So stay tuned for all those shortcuts. Speaking of podcasts, this episode is brought to you by Buzzsprout, my favorite podcast host. I host my own podcast at Buzzsprout, and it has great tools for all podcast creators. You can import your podcast into Buzzsprout. They walk you through all the steps. They have great tools like Magic Mastering to make sure the levels on your episodes are great, and you can even share clips of your podcast using Buzzsprout's built-in tools. You don't have to pay another service for that. To learn more, go to buzzsprout.com or click the link in the video description. You can even start for free, uploading up to 2 hours every month, completely for free. So thank you to Buzzsprout. This first shortcut I want to show you how to build actually puts your podcast artwork or branding on an image so that you can then post it on social media. First thing you need to do is create your brand image or whatever overlay you want to put over the images you're sharing on social media. So for me, I will open Pixelmator. You can do this in Photoshop, or there's lots of other tools. Canva you can do this in. But if you want to create a square image, perfectly square, you can do 2000 by 2000 pixels wide. I did 1500 by 1500. That works well. It's actually 1501, which will be important in a moment. But whatever it is, just make sure it's perfectly square. You can do 2000 by 2000. Then add your branding. So maybe if you just have a logo and you want to have your logo in the bottom right, just to kind of have it recognizable as your brand, you can do that. Or you can do something larger, like we have this bar at the top with our URL. This way people can see the URL right there on the social media image and go to it. What helps to have a short URL, you should look up .fm domains also. So this is the image, and now I'm going to save this as a PNG file. And it's important that it's PNG because you want it to be transparent. So whatever image you choose later, this will overlay clean on top of it. Now I recommend you save it in iCloud Drive. Even if you don't use iCloud Drive for other cloud storage services, it's easier to pull these files and it's a little more reliable, I found, than even using something like Dropbox. And in your iCloud Drive folder, you probably have a shortcuts folder, although you can create a new folder if you'd like. Just remember where you save it, because that'll be important in a moment. And I have a shortcuts folder here, and then another folder called Mott's. Movies on the Side is the name of the podcast. And that's where I save the PNG files to overlay on the images that I'm trying to create. So once you save your PNG file to iCloud Drive, you're ready to make the shortcut on your iPhone or iPad device. So let's create the shortcut from scratch so you can see all the steps. The first step I'm going to use is to actually select a photo. Now you should already have a photo hopefully in your photos on your device, and you want to crop it perfectly square. Remember, in your Photos app on your device, you can crop something perfectly square when you hit Edit, then hit the crop button right there, and you can tap up here for the different resolutions or different formats, aspect ratios, and you see square is one of the options, and that's what you want to hit. You want to hit square, so you have a perfectly square image. So the first step in this shortcut we want to do is select photo. You can type it in the search box on your phone or your iPad. Select photo. And we only want one photo, so I'm going to leave that toggle off. So I'm going to select a photo. Then I'm going to search for the command to resize the image. And this is important because even though it's a perfect square, it might be a different resolution than your overlay image that you already have. So you got to remember, if you set it to 2000 by 2000 pixels tall and wide, that's good. Then just resize the photo, and you can just put 2000 there for the width. You can leave height blank because it's a perfect square. It'll resize it to 2000 pixels wide. Now, because mine was a different size, mine was actually 1501, I'm going to put 1501 pixels wide. That's the image I made in Pixelmator. So that will be the image under our branding. Now I'm going to search for File as the next step, and you want to just select the step that just says File. I'm going to drag that over, and for our file, I'm going to select that overlaid image that I made in Pixelmator. So whatever that image is that you saved to your iCloud Drive or somewhere else, that's the image you want to select here. Make sure it's that same size too. So there's the file. Now I'm going to search for the overlay step. So you can just do overlay. The overlay image step is what goes next. Drag that over. You could just tap it. And now I'm actually going to overlay the file, because the file is that branded overlay that we made, and it's going to overlay on top of the resized image. So it's going to be overlay file on resized image. Then I can choose to quick look so we can make sure it looks right. So I'm going to add a quick look. Finally, you want to save photo step. So it actually saves it to your camera roll. So it'll allow me to select a photo in my camera roll, resize it to the exact dimensions of my overlay, get my overlay file, overlay that file on the resized image, show me a quick look of it, and then save it to my photos. It's also important in this overlay step to turn off Show Image Editor. You don't need to see the image editor. You can leave all those settings the same. So make sure you do that on the overlay step. Now we're going to run this shortcut, select the square image that I already cropped, and now it had the overlay image right there on the image from my camera roll, and it'll save it to my photos. And from there, you can share it on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you'd like. And it has your podcast branding, your URL, or your logo, whatever you'd like, on that square image that's ready to share. And so I love that. It's a great way to promote your podcast. Now, I kind of want to give you a bonus shortcut, and this one is specifically because I do a podcast about movies where we review a movie every week, and every Friday I post, here's the movie we're doing. And so one shortcut I have is actually called Mott's Rental. What that means is this is what we post to say, hey, rent this movie this week or stream it this week, and this is what we're reviewing this weekend. So this shortcut, I'm not going to go through all these steps specifically, but I just want to show it to you because it's one of my favorite shortcuts. So it actually asks for a text input, and then I search for a movie title. And then it'll actually search the iTunes store for that movie title, provide a list of options, and then I can select what movie it is that I actually intend. It will take the image of that movie from the iTunes store and then overlay it on a frame that I made for movies on the side, and then I can post that to social media. Let me show you what I mean. When I hit play on this shortcut, I search for a movie. Let's say I search for Russell Crowe's Gladiator. It'll show me options from the iTunes store. I know Ridley Scott Gladiator, that's the one I want. It gets the movie poster image and then actually overlays that on this frame that I already built. And now I have a custom movie right there in this frame. It's got our branding, it's got the URL, and it says Weekend Movie Rental, and I share that to our Instagram every Friday. So I could do it super quick. I don't have to Google for the image or the movie poster. I get it right there. So it's pretty cool. If you want me to go in depth on building that shortcut, because maybe you have a podcast specifically about movies or TV shows like I do, let me know in the comments of this video and I'll do that one as a follow-up. All right, this next shortcut I want to show you is to promote or share your podcast where it pulls the latest episode URLs and puts them in a text field so they're ready to tweet out or post to Facebook or Instagram or whatever you'd like. Probably not Instagram because they don't do links in the captions, but you know what I mean, Twitter or Facebook. So this shortcut, let me jump into it real quick. What it does is it actually asks for text input and then copies it to the clipboard to use as a caption. You could skip that part if you'd like. But then the powerful steps are using the Apple Podcast shortcut steps. I can actually get the latest episodes of a specific podcast. I get it from Movies on the Side. Then I can choose from the latest episodes of that podcast and then actually get the store URL, which is the URL to that specific episode in Apple Podcast. So when I tweet out that link or post that link, someone clicks it, they go right to the episode that I'm talking about. Then you can also show web page, and what I do is I like to link to the Overcast. That's one of the more popular third-party podcast apps. And so it actually pulls up the podcast page in Overcast, the Overcast website, and I can copy and paste the latest episode URL, and then it saves that for the final text. And then you'll see here, the text block puts it all together. It can take the caption that I wrote, the Apple Podcast link, the Overcast link, and then you can customize whatever else you want this to say. Then I just put our website at the end. And then the final step, it actually opens Twitter where I can paste this and just tweet it out automatically. So let me show you what it does. I'll hit the play button, and this is the caption that I can then add to the top of the text. So I say, this is my caption. Hit done. Then it will pull up the latest episodes of the podcast in Apple Podcasts. The latest episode is actually at the very bottom. Here's Red Notice. So I'll tap that. Then it will pull up the Overcast webpage, and I can see the latest episodes here. There's Red Notice, so I'm going to tap and hold on it. I'm going to tap Copy, and then I'll hit Done. So it takes the URL I just copied, and look, here's the text it's about to put on my clipboard. And when I hit Done, then it'll shoot me over to Twitter. I can start a new tweet, and I can just tap and then paste, and there you have all the links ready to go. And if I actually typed a real caption there, it'd be there at the top, and I can just tweet this out. And that's the specific URL to this episode in Apple Podcasts, this specific episode in Overcast, and then I can add my website, or you can remove that if you have something else you'd like to link to. So it's a quick way to share the latest episode of your podcast quickly and get links directly to those episodes in various services. Spotify doesn't let you get those specific URLs in an easy way, like opening it in a web browser, and there's no Spotify shortcut steps. So that's why I do Apple Podcasts and Overcast, which are two of the big players when it comes to podcast apps. Now, this last shortcut is going to get a little bit into the weeds because we're going to talk about RSS. If you have a podcast, except it's on Spotify, who really knows what they do with podcasts anyway? If you have a podcast on something like Buzzsprout, which is a great podcast host, then you have an RSS for your podcast. And that RSS actually has a lot of the data, pretty much all of the data for your episodes that you publish. And so you can actually pull that data to then use later. And so for me, I take time to write a nice little paragraph when I post a new episode to Movies on the Side. And rather than rewrite something different, I can reuse that text and put it in a social media post to promote that episode. And you can actually pull that text directly and get it ready to post quickly using a shortcut like this. The first thing you'll need to do is get your RSS feed from your publishing or hosting provider. If you happen to use Buzzsprout because it's a great podcast hosting, you can actually go to directories and then you go to RSS feed, and that is the specific RSS feed. So let's build this shortcut real quick. I'm going to search for RSS, and you'll see a couple commands here. You can do get items from RSS feed, and that's what I want to do. Let me replace this Apple Newsroom feed with my podcast feed. So I want to get those 10 items, and that's actually a lot of items. Let me just turn that down to like 4. Give me the 4 latest items from that feed. Then I'm going to search for a choose from list command. So I'm going to choose from list of those items in the RSS feed. And then the next part is really cool. Search for Safari and then tap that, and you'll see get details of article. That's actually the one I want. So I'm going to get details of article, and I'm actually going to choose get body from chosen item. I'm going to add a quick look step so we can see what this shortcut is actually pulling from the RSS feed. When I hit play, first I choose the episode that I actually want to pull the information from, and it actually shows me it's pulling the entire episode notes, links and all, in this shortcut. Now, you could do that. I can actually just add that to my clipboard using shortcuts and then tweet that out or post it on Facebook, but it could be a lot of text depending how long your show notes are. I actually just want that first paragraph of text. It's about a tweet length, maybe a Facebook post, and then I can add something later to it. So I'm going to hit done. I'm going to remove that quick look step so we can keep building this shortcut out. So get body from chosen item got me all the episode notes. Now I'm actually going to search for a split text command. I'm going to split text, and it's actually going to be by new lines. That means whenever there's a new paragraph or a new line, it's going to split the text in this shortcut. We don't really see it, but it's splitting it by that. And now I'm going to search for item list, and I'm going to do the get item from list command, and I want to get the first item from the split text. So that means the first item in the very first paragraph break, which is going to be that first paragraph of my show notes, it's actually just going to select that block of text. So let me add another quick look step so we can see exactly what it's pulling. I'll hit the play button. I'm going to select the episode, and now you'll see it's just pulling that first paragraph from the episode notes that I wrote when I published the episode. So now what can we do with that? Well, I'm going to take away the quick look step one more time, and I'm going to search for a text block or a text step. And now what I'm going to do is I want to select variable. I actually want to select that item from the list. So it's going to pull that paragraph of text from the episode show notes. And now what I'm going to do is add this text, which is listen now at, and maybe I just want to point people to my website, mots.fm. Then I'm going to do a copy to clipboard command, and then maybe I'll do the tweet command. So what that will do is it'll take the first paragraph from my episode notes, add this listen now at my website text at the end of that, copy that to clipboard, and then it's going to bring up a tweet where I can just tweet out that text very quickly. Now when I hit play, I select the episode I want to promote. It'll put that text together, and look, right there opens a tweet with the episode show note description or whatever I put for that episode, and then the listen now at Mots FM right there, and I can just tweet it out. So what I do is I write my episode notes, especially that first paragraph, with the intention of using it to share on social media. Then I can run this shortcut, pull that paragraph of text, and I have a tweet or a Facebook post ready to go. I don't have to think about what to write when I want to promote this episode. It'll just pull that first paragraph from my show notes automatically. Then you can also add an image. Maybe you made that overlay image in that other shortcut. You can add that to the tweet or the Facebook post. And you can, of course, customize it. Maybe you want to pull the latest URL from Apple Podcasts. You can do that, combine it with the shortcut from before, or just add those steps in this shortcut. And now you have a quick way to tweet or post something pretty interesting because it's your episode notes and a link to your website or podcast automatically. So I hope that helped. That's a few ways to promote your podcast, whether it's artwork and overlay imagery, sharing URLs to specific podcast platforms, or just getting the episode description from your latest episode so you have something easy to post. Subscribe to the channel because I have a bunch of tips for podcasters, whether you're just starting out and need ideas on equipment, or you've been a podcaster for a long time and you're looking at the Stream Deck pedal and you're wondering how you can use that accessory. And don't forget to hit the like button if this helped you out. I also have some other tech stuff on the channel. I'm building a smart home. We're actually just constructing a new home for our family, but I'll be making it a smart home, and so I'm chronicling that building process. I just wired it for Ethernet and home theater speakers, in-ceiling speakers, and so you could check out that video. I'll link it above. And I got a bunch of cool tips in the shorts for this channel as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time.